Palantir shares have been on a tear this year. The stock up just around 40% since the start of the year, driven by excitement surrounding the AI boom. In an exclusive interview with Yahoo Finance, Palantir CEO Alex Karp discussed the company's AI platform and ultimately what it means here for customers and investors. Take a listen.
What they're going to find is the large language model is much more like a chemistry experiment, the outgrowth of which is something that is useful when refined, where we impose the logic of your business on the large language model in the security and intellectual logic of your business. And this is transformative. And what it means for investors and others is there is value in this market. You can identify where the value is very easily.
Joining us now, we want to bring in Brent Thill. He's a Jefferies senior analyst. Brent, it's great to talk to you. So taking a step back here, when you take a look at Palantir shares, they're up just around 40% since the start of the year. Lots of questions just around the hype surrounding this stock. Clearly, it's been a wild run for some investors. I'm curious just your take on the current position of Palantir right now. I believe you still have a hold rating on the name.
Yeah, good morning. Fundamentals are obviously improving at Palantir. What holds us back right now is valuation. It's the single most expensive name in our coverage universe. So great companies with great momentum sometimes look expensive on the opportunity set. And we obviously believe the opportunity set is enormous for Palantir and AI, but we believe there's going to be better entry points for the stock. The fundamentals, they've done a really nice job. You know, the beginning of last year, for basically 75% of the year, they didn't produce anything. And then in Q4, things started to turn. They really cleaned up all the bad execution last year in Q4. And then in Q1, they had a really good number. So you've had two good quarters. I think they got in front of the AI wave better than others. Clearly, AI is really an infrastructure. If you look at what's happening with NVIDIA and all the other names, it really hasn't come to the software layer. Palantir is bucking that trend. They have seen great momentum in their suite, and customer adoption has been good. So give them credit where credit's due. They're doing a fantastic job there. But again, you go back to multiple being the single richest name in software. So you have valuation risk right now. You don't have fundamental risk. The fundamentals are really good.
There's little question that AI is causing a massive shift in the technology landscape, but many companies who want to implement AI in their operations find themselves running into some problems, like not knowing where to start and how to adopt this next-generation technology. That's where Palantir comes in. The company has been creating custom AI solutions for the US government and its allies for more than 20 years, and more recently developed systems specifically designed for enterprise-level businesses. Decades of expertise in the field gave Palantir an edge when generative AI took off last year, and this was made clear at the company's impressive AIPCon. In today's video, we're going to discuss the event's key announcements, as well as some analysts' opinions on Palantir and Palantir Stock, so you can decide for yourself if this stock is worth your hard-earned money. But before we do that, if you want to keep up with Palantir's latest updates and keep up with the stock market's latest news, you can follow our Twitter account. We post multiple times daily about the biggest changes and catalysts in the market, so click the follow button if you don't want to miss the newest market updates. Now, back to today's video.
The government business has been, in our opinion, it's going to be it's great. But you're really going to be able to do the work in the commercial business, and the commercial inflection is happening. And I think this is the area that needs to continue to improve, because the government piece is just unanalyzable. You don't know when it lands. They're big deals. You don't know when one country is going to buy the product or another, and they tend to be massive deals. They tend to not be little deals. They're huge deals. So when they land, it's difficult on timing. So no doubt it will help them. And I think their position in AI and the success stories that they're getting now are really going to be what's going to keep investors really excited, which is when they launched this company, it was like when Musk launched the Tesla. It was unaffordable for 90% of the population. Now nurses and interior designers and accountants can buy the Tesla because they brought it to the mass market. And Palantir is bringing this now to the mass market. That's what is exciting me the most. At the beginning, it was really built, again, for special people that have special budgets, and now they're trying to effectively change that by saying, hey, you can go into a boot camp, you can buy this product for your supply chain, you can get it up and going in a month or two, get value, and then build into it if you get success. That's a great call. We love that strategy. That's the same playbook that Elon Musk ran. So, hats off to them. We missed part of the move in the stock, but I also think, you can be patient given some of the valuation concerns that we have.
During AIPCon, Palantir's CEO, Alex Karp, offered insight into the company's AI work, defense spending, and the potential impact of the 2024 election. He explained how Palantir's AI work creates value for customers and investors, saying that the company's large language model is much more like a chemistry experiment. Karp also criticized the hype around large language models due to high costs and low output, highlighting Palantir's approach to managing these models to transform enterprises, cut costs, and improve efficiency. Then he noted that various sectors, including construction, healthcare, and the military, are now successfully using these models to enhance operations and convert non-technical staff into technical experts. As for how the upcoming elections would impact the company, Karp said that the party in the White House has little impact on Palantir. However, he noted a shift in the U.S. Department of Defense's spending habits, saying that it wants to move quicker to stay ahead of adversaries. Additionally, more than 70 companies talked to the crowd at the event about how they are integrating and leveraging Palantir's AI tools in their businesses. At the same time, Palantir engineers spent time sitting side by side with customers, collaborating on what they could build with the software. Some of the companies that participated included United Airlines and Wendy's. These events are really important for Palantir as they have helped boost the company's U.S. commercial revenue, which rose 40% year over year in Q1 of this year to $150 million. With Alex Karp yet again saying that Palantir has no competitors, is the company a great investment right now? Let's find out. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Investocracy.
What does the competitive landscape look like for Palantir? Could there be a competitor that could potentially take any of their government business?
Well, that's a good question. I don't necessarily see many competitors that do what they do. So what I'm trying to say here is that if you look at the stability that Palantir has developed because of DoD contracts, I don't see any switching going on from that standpoint. C3AI has technologies like Palantir, but that company is actually more focused on the private sector versus the public sector. So I think, Palantir is sort of a standout from the standpoint of its technologies that are, again, used for the public sector. But I think it also is developing more technology and offerings for the private sector. So, one would say, looking at the stock price action last year, since May of last year, in fact, it's actually performed quite well. This last year in 52 weeks, it's higher by over 50%. But there are always some questions about, valuation, because if you look at Palantir going forward from the standpoint of 2025's earnings, they're trading around 60 times that year's earnings and around 77 times this year's earnings. So it's a profitable company. They've been growing their profits. But the challenge always has been for Palantir is looking at the market capitalization to sales. It's trading around 26 times sales and also trading around 2 times its 2025's earnings growth. And so one would say it's relatively rich in valuation. I think that's why we see this element of ebbing and flowing from a price action standpoint.
Recently, Jefferies analyst Brent Thill said that he is encouraged by improvements in Palantir's fundamentals and business, specifically the strength in its AI business. He also talked about the recent AIPCon, saying that the company's mini boot camps will get them more customers and more customer engagements, and that translates into higher deal velocity for the company. But despite his enthusiasm, Phil currently maintains a hold recommendation on the stock due to valuation concerns, saying that it's one of the most expensive names that he covers. So, are the concerns about Palantir's valuation warranted? And should investors still buy the stock anyways? We can say that Palantir's leading position in the AI software industry justifies its valuation. Palantir is unique because it helps businesses pinpoint the issues they have when it comes to adopting AI technologies so they can adopt customized solutions. Through its intensive hands-on boot camps, Palantir provides its customers with sessions that allow new and existing customers to build live alongside Palantir engineers, all working toward the common goal of deploying AI in operations. This helps businesses go from zero to use case in just 1 to 5 days. And demand for this is really strong, as Palantir has a growing backlog of AIP bootcamps, according to the company. In fact, the company was taken aback by the sheer level of interest in these sessions. Back in October, management planned to host 500 bootcamps over the course of the coming year, but demand was off the charts. In Q1 alone, Palantir conducted 660 such conferences, dramatically increasing its enterprise customer base along the way. In Q1, commercial revenue grew 40% year-over-year, despite the first quarter being Palantir's seasonally slowest. As a result, U.S. commercial customers surged 69% year-over-year. The company boosted its full-year forecast, calling for revenue growth of at least 45% for the segment, up from its previous guidance, which called for 40% growth. Bears were quick to point out that 40% growth was down from 70% sequentially, but that's explained by seasonality and the lumpiness inherent in closing these types of deals in an uncertain economy. The current quarter will mark an important test for Palantir, as it will show if there's no longer any room for Palantir to run, or if the AI revolution is only just getting started. If you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
Yeah, I mean, it's particularly interesting too when we hear Alex Karp talk about the biggest use cases and how important their company is and their estimation or calculus for what they believe the world could move towards, unfortunately. And it really is trying to figure out which governments, which companies are best trying to position themselves if we do see even more geopolitical tension. How much of that can be part of the thesis into why Palantir would succeed rather than other factors?
It helps. So, half their business is government, half of it's commercial. The commercial business is doing really well. The government business isn't doing as well, but is still a bright spot. And so certainly more tensions, you effectively need software to effectively do scenario planning, to do disaster planning, to understand, what assets you have, where should they be. So they've always thrived, in that part. I think that the challenge for investors on the government business is, one, it's hard to really talk to the CIA or whoever has the software to really actually see what it's doing and does it work, right? So what we've said to investors is the government business is really difficult to analyze because it's hard to talk to most of those governments. They don't want to talk to anyone about how they're using it. It's very secretive. So you effectively cannot predict what happens in the government business. On the commercial side, we can do a better job of that. And I think that's where we're seeing great success. United Airlines, a handful of the other great case studies that they're getting, those are real case studies around supply chain, aircraft maintenance. They're doing a really nice job there. So
Palantir stock has been on a tear, up 232% since the start of 2023. The company's strong financial results and the accelerating adoption of AI are fueling that surge. As a result, the valuation has also surged, so it naturally won't be suitable for every investor. The stock is currently selling for 65 times forward earnings and 15 next year's sales, which is enough to send value investors running for cover. However, those multiples fail to take into account Palantir's accelerating growth. The more appropriate forward price earnings to growth, or PEG ratio, which factors in that growth, reveals a multiple of less than 1, which is the standard for an undervalued stock. Still, the stock won't appeal to every investor. But with everything else we talked about in mind, if you're an investor who's willing to take some risk for a pure play in the AI space, a modest position in Palantir could pay big rewards in the future. But what do you think about Palantir stock? Is it a buy now? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to tell us what your valuation for Palantir is. If you would like to know what companies like Palantir have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.